podcast for those who suffer, which is everyone.
It's a space where we can speak honestly about what it feels like to be in desolate places without losing hope.
Welcome to In the Thicket.
Hello, everybody. We're really excited today about our guests, Leon and Lorraine Da Silva, good friends of mine who share a very challenging journey with cancer and the way that God is calling them to approach this journey, the way of radical hope. We encourage you to listen all the way through the episode because they share their journey of prayer and how the Holy Spirit has guided them to this approach. We know that everybody's experience of illness is different, but this story we hope will really inspire you to lean into the Lord and what He is saying to you, no matter what you're going through. Enjoy. Hello, welcome to In the Thicket, everybody. So we've got some very special guests with us today. Uncle Leon and Auntie Lorraine. They are my friends. So, and then we also have, obviously, me, Rachel, Aaron, and Nicole. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
How you doing?
Hi, good morning, good day, good
afternoon.
Yeah.
We always, Uncle Leon and Auntie Lorraine, we always start with good morning, but people listen at all times of the day. And so we're trying to be cognizant of that, but it's very hard because we record in the morning and it's so beautiful. You just want to be like, good morning. So anyways, Here we are. So very excited to have you guys on. And I just want to kind of disclaimer for people who are Indian or maybe some other cultures as well, we call our, I guess our elders, uncle and auntie, and that's like just normal. And so I've known you guys since, I don't know, I was probably 6 or 7 or very young, maybe 8.
25 years, maybe.
Yeah, a long, long time. And you're still my elders, but when I was like 8, you were definitely my elders. So you were Uncle Leon, Auntie Lorraine. So that's how I'm going to address you in this podcast. But everybody else can call you Leon and Lorraine because that's your name.
I think that's pretty common. And I know for sure in like Filipino culture, because when I lived in Winnipeg, there's lots of Filipinos in Winnipeg. And so I remember sitting in the cathedral one time for mass, and there was like a couple of younger guys who were sitting like a row ahead of like some older women, and it's like tita and tito, right? So like auntie and uncle, and
Yep.
anyways, but it's so funny because it's like everybody has permission to shush young people. Like, so the people who were sitting the row behind these guys, and they're like talking during mass, and the woman was like, I'm sure anybody who's Filipino who's listening is like, yes, I know that sound, because that's the that's the simmer down sound.
Like,
yep.
Right. I don't know if I don't know. I think in Indian culture it's just like shh. There's less like and we're like shh. Anyways, that's so funny. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. How are you guys today? How's everybody doing?
I would say pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
The weather's good.
The weather's good. COVID is on.
It is good.
With COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's not. Yeah. The weather is good though. It's sunny. We always talk about the weather, and it's beautiful.
Well, when we were talking just before we started recording, because I'm from Winnipeg, and so I love this kind of day is my like the perfect weather day where it's about -10 about maybe -15 and sunny. It's just so beautiful, and it's like calm, and I don't know, I went for a walk this morning and it was just absolutely delightful. So
I had to go to Toronto for an appointment this past week, and of course in the middle of the lockdown, so that's fun. But it was one of those times when it was sunny and like pretty nice outside, like not too cold, but it's snowing at the same time, and like the snowing in the sun, and I was like going to get a coffee in the morning, like, this is so beautiful. So that, or I don't mind snow. Like, I don't like the getting around in snow after, but I love driving in snow. And I love totally. I love driving in snow. And then also when you're sitting inside and you're so cozy, and it's like soft flakes like coming down. Oh, I love that.
Yes. Actually, yesterday it felt like I was in a snow globe, I think, because I was like sitting in my living room studying, and the snow wasn't it was like just a dusting on the ground that just stayed a dusting like the whole day.
Right.
And so, but it was flurrying and like snowing the whole day, but it just remained sort of like this dusting. And it's like really, it sort of just did feel like God was shaking around like a
Mhm.
snow globe, because the like yeah the amount of snow didn't increase. It just was like
Right.
the
Oh.
Yeah.
same snow
Yeah.
all day,
Hmm.
but it was beautiful.
That is
Okay,
beautiful.
yeah. So we love snow and sun. That has been established, which is great. But we're, this is a podcast about suffering, not snow and sun. So we we got to get on to the hard stuff here, Um, but no, obviously, we have these incredible guests, Uncle Leon, Auntie Lorraine today, and I want you guys to maybe just start off with sharing your story because I know you for a long time, but more recently, your journey has been really beautiful and difficult, and involving illness and cancer and things like that. So we wanted to, yeah, we wanted to just talk about that with you guys today. So why don't you start with, giving us a little background?
Okay. Uh, I was working with a company called Kodak, one of the greatest American companies, for about 22 years. And they went bust like the Titanic in 2012 end. So in the meantime, I planned to set up my own company. And I set up my training company where I was doing training for corporates, training them on sales, customer service, how to make presentations, how to speak, how to prepare yourself for interviews and the like.
Hmm.
And that company did well. It was run just by me. I couldn't get another person in because of the use of my creative presentations. But the third year it went down. So I started looking out, and there was this company called Life Pharmacy. It is like Shoppers Drug Mart, but 100 times better than Shoppers Drug Mart by way of quantity or even quality, I may say. I mean, I always tell people when God made pharmacies, he made Life Pharmacy, and then he made other pharmacies. It is brilliant. They have 240 stores there right now. And when I was there, there were 200 stores. So life was good with me. I felt I was swinging the world by the tail because at 60, 61, you have a nice job. And the only thing it was a 6-day week that got me down. And that got me off from my gym workouts where I used to work out 3 times a week. And each time was 2 hours. So
Mm.
for 1 year, there was absolutely no workout of this body. Anyway, to fast forward, in October 18, I had a back pain. And of course, I didn't tell it to my wife, Lorraine, Auntie Lorraine, because she'll say, I know you're sneaking off to the gym and you've hurt your back again. Because the gym was a phobia for me. It was a passion for me. But for Auntie Lorraine, she didn't want me to really spend too many hours in the gym because of my disc problem, my old slip disc problem.
Mm.
So, but then after 10, 15 days into October, I said, I have to tell her. So the pain is severe. In the meantime, I was doing a seminar a day. So we went to a doctor. He did the ultrasounds. He says, nothing's wrong with you. Take these painkillers. Nothing happened. We went to a second doctor. X-rays. He says, you've got stress fractures on your back.
Hmm.
Relax. Try not to do your seminar standing and so on and so forth. Nothing happened. Put me on physiotherapy. Nothing happened. We move into December, went to the third doctor. He did the same thing, x-rays, physiotherapy. Nothing happened. We go into New Year's of 2019. The pain was excruciating, to say the
Mm.
least. But I was standing down there and delivering a seminar. Because I was in a pharmaceutical retail company, I was training pharmacists, PharmDs, bee farms, fresh bee farms, experienced 30-year-old pharmacists. And they said, sir, you're taking too many of these painkillers. Because they were giving it to me, it was free for me,
Mm.
because it may affect your kidneys. Then I said, something's wrong. We went to the fourth doctor. And he said, do some thigh stretches in front of me. I could not do it. So he said, Leon, there's nothing wrong with you because you're standing up. There's a lot of tension on your, whatever, hamstrings. But if this does not heal, we'll do an MRI. So we are into February. We do the MRI. And then it was our anniversary on February 10th. And we get a call via my son from the doctor saying that go and take a CT scan immediately.
Mm.
Took a CT scan and they suspected that deadly illness called whatever it starts in C. In this interview, I will not address that illness by its name because I don't give it any credit.
Hmm.
I'm fighting a psychological war with that guy. So I don't even want to name him as such.
Hmm.
Okay. Anyway, we were shocked. We were stunned, to say the least. And friends helped us to decide which hospital to go to. Lorraine's cousin was architect down here. She said, go to this hospital because this doctor's supposed to be Asia's best oncologist. His name is Dr. Suresh Advani. He's in a wheelchair. He's 73 years old. So fast forward, we went to the hospital. He met us and he said, let's do a PET scan. He did the PET scan and he did a tumor marker test. Now, when you do a tumor marker test, it tells you how many tumors you got in your body. A good number for a normal person will be 1 to 3, 1 to 5. Everyone has lumps of tumors, which is inactive. So in my case, it was active 219.
Hmm.
Oh.
That number shocked me. And then he did the PET scan. And after the PET scan, he wheeled himself into our room. Lorraine and myself was down there. And he said, I've got good news and bad news, Leon. I said, doctor, give me the bad news. He says, you're come with stage 4 of the illness. I said, in my mind, honestly, I thought there are 10. So I was happy. I said, I've got 6 more to go. He said, it's spread. It started in your lungs. It's spread to your liver. And it's covered 13 vertebrae of your back. That stunned me like I have never been hit by a train, but people say that so I do not, it stunned me. And then when he told Lorraine that this is stage 4, but I said, what's the good news? He says, we could treat it. Lorraine looked up at him and said, Dr. God, there's not no stages. That's one word, one statement I will never forget in my life. And he looked at Lorraine as though she's under a trauma. She's under stress. She does not know what she's talking. She's lost it. Anyway, he left. And thereon began a journey of, you could say, suffering initially, because it was suffering of the body, the mind. It shocked us. It shocked our 2 boys, Craig and Carson. And we started the treatment up after treatment. So fast forward, we did 12 chemos in Bombay at the hospital called SL Raheja. But I think God gave me the strength because of the prayers of Lorraine, who was much more and is much more prayerful than me, I think. My prayers, plus my relations and friends, more than 200 all across the world in almost every continent, including Rachel and our family. They were all stunned beyond compare. So, but I should tell you this, after the second chemo, with the back pain on, Lorraine made a vow, a promise to go to a church in Bombay where she'll take me kneeling down. And believe me, with the faith in God and myself, we both went kneeling from the foot of the threshold of the church to the altar. And that gave me a lot of confidence, you know. I said I could do it. And thereafter, our faith was just compounded. If we heard there was a healing seminar in this part of Bombay, we went down there. If we heard there was a healing seminar in that part of Bombay, we went down there, and we traveled. Uber, we were Uber's best customer during that. Never forget, in one account, we spent 1,200 rupees. In Canadian dollars, it may sound small. That's a big amount for each trip up and down. But our faith continued along with the medication. And then they switched me to 12 rounds of Keytruda. Keytruda is a latest drug for this illness where it boosts your immune system. It's called immunotherapy. So we did that also, but the tumors, and we did 4 PET scans after a session of chemotherapies. The tumors went down very well, but again, they were down there. The pain persisted, but I decided to fight it. The minute the back pain went down a lot, believe me, I started walking about 3 to 4 kilometers every other day. How did I do that? Each time I started my walk, I said, God, Jesus, you got to push me to this walk. And it happened. And I've got videos to prove it that in March of this year on the treadmill, I was walking on the treadmill. If anyone sees me, they'll never say, this guy is a patient of this illness. So we continued our fight with prayer, guys. I would say prayer was 10 times more than the medicine. And I firmly believe in an old Chinese proverb which says, the doctor dresses the wound, but there's only one healer, God heals it. So with all those things in mind, and whenever anyone asked me, Leon, how are you feeling today? Believe me, I just said, super trooper, nothing else. Till date, I tell people, super trooper. I'm fighting the fight, I said, I'm treating this like a guy, like a street fight. I'm hitting it with bricks, bats, stones, glass pieces, whatever I see on the street. And those weapons that I use were actually my mind. Did negative flashes come to my mind? Initially, no, because I believe it was a back pain and the back pain is going to heal. This word of the name of the illness did not live in me. It did not live in me. I used to get disturbed by the grace of God at 3 and 4 in the morning till date for the last 2 years. And every time I used to pray at that odd hour, 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And I believed I got strength. But did the pain go? The pain did not go. Did the illness go? It is still hanging on down there. But I believe that the good God, the good Lord has brought me a long way, because I heard people whisper when I came to Canada to collect my PR card. I did hear my brother-in-law whisper to his pastor. He said, Pastor, he said, pray over Leon. Of course, he says, why? He said, because he's got this illness, and normally people said he's got 6 months. Now it is well past 6 months. And whenever those thoughts came to me, like thoughts of my own funeral, it did flash. Yes, it did flash. I used to really, truly say, get behind me, Satan. Now, these are the words which Jesus actually used in his lifetime. And till date, if any negative thought comes to me when I'm alone, I just say, get behind me, Satan. If anyone's allowed, they hear me shouting, like yesterday I was alone, or else I say it in my mind. I said, you don't deserve to be in me. I said, just get out of it. So I keep on chanting these things that I tell people I'm treating it like a dog. The other day I told people I'm treating it like a dog. And I sent a WhatsApp message reply to my friend, because she sent me a message. I mean, it makes no sense that Dolly Parton's best friend, Randy something, died of this illness. So I said, please don't send me this. I don't want to hear these messages. Tell me someone who's been cured of this. And I'll post this video, or I'll post this WhatsApp throughout the whole world. And they got the message. So as far as whenever people ask me, how are things going? I said, well, I'm fighting it with 3 Ps. One is prayer. One is my psychological prowess, because I believe in the last 25 years, I've been training people in 25 countries. I've literally trained people of more than thousands, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 people, different nationalities. So that increases your psychological understanding of people, and I believe I'm quite sound in the psychological part of it. So I'm using psychology, my own psychology, and saying, I am going to see this end. I visualize myself cycling with Lorraine in Canada 3 or 4 months from now. I visualize myself slowly getting back to my gym. I visualize myself standing up and telling other people, you know something? Don't call me a cancer survivor. Call me a cancer destroyer. I've already got that in my mind. Because I've picked a t-shirt from the net where it says I'm a cancer survivor. And I want to change that. And I believe the good God is going to give me that power to change it, that I am not a cancer survivor. I'm a cancer destroyer.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's so much to process, even though I know your journey, like just hearing more of the details. And
if I have to show you the picture of the scan with the tumors, it was like the whole body dotted with tumors.
I think
And
what
the kind
strikes
of
me from your sharing.
sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry?
sorry.
Go ahead, Nicole. No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think what strikes me from what you were sharing, Leon, is that, so often when we're going through something difficult, there's a temptation to be afraid, right? That's a natural human response. And what I'm hearing in what you're saying is that you're refusing to give into fear in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
Um, and so I think that's something that's really beautiful because um, yeah, that's a huge struggle. That's something I struggle with. It's like every little thing that happens to my life, can't help but think of the worst possible scenario.
I used to be like
Um,
that. I used to be like that, Nicole. Worry. I was a worrier. I was a complete thoroughbred pedigree warrior. And now I'm just the opposite. I'm just the opposite. And I tell my sons and I told my friends, at least my relations, I said, now with Lorraine together, I said, I'm just a fearless person. Fearless person. I mean, I'm going to face anything. Even after the illness is hit and destroyed, I could face anything in the world, whether it's a man in the street in a dark alley or another challenging problem, because I've got the comfort. I had my hope in Christ, and my hope is fulfilled.
Mhm.
And I just want to tell people, never give up hope. The minute you leave that rope, that last piece, you are alone. The minute you hold that last shred of that frayed rope, then you know that you're still holding on to faith. And it's only faith. And I heard of many people, one I could recall, his name is Joel Osteen. He's a preacher in Lakewood in Texas. His mother, at age 45 or 55, was diagnosed with liver cancer, and she was given 6 months or 6 weeks. She died at 93.
Mhm.
So those stories, I said, if she could live, I could live. And I read the scripture, and it says, one scripture says, I will live and not die. So all these scriptures that I read the Psalms very often in the morning, and I cling to it. I just cling to the word. And I tell my God that the world was created by the word. Everything that is created and will be created by the word. So your word is so powerful. And I now live by the word. I'm getting healed by the word. And now I tell him in the mornings, I said, I'm prepared to die by your word, which means I am your servant, and I want to be a pastor for you. I want to be a mouthpiece for you. I want to be an evangelist for you by telling people this or any challenge can be destroyed. In fact, I've even mentioned to very close friends, I said, why can't the medical fraternity change the name from CANCR to another word? Because the minute anyone hears you've got this, you're half dead already.
Mm.
It knocks you out, but that can't happen. It's just my fantasy, my dream about changing the illness,
Yeah,
Rachel.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it just strikes me the hope, like the real clinging to hope. And I wonder maybe if I can ask you, Auntie
Sure.
Lorraine, can I call you Auntie Lorraine?
You can call me whatever you're comfortable with. And
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because I wonder if you can maybe share with us what that was like for you, kind of in the hearing of the diagnosis, but that hope, because you can see, like Uncle Leon, there's so much, like it's like hope and hope and hope and hope and clinging to hope. So what was that? What has that been like for you?
well, to be honest, at first it really shattered our entire family,
Mm,
just hearing that it is in the fourth stage. But in a flash of a minute, I
mm,
was able to say, no, this is not going to get the better of us. So I told the doctor, like Leon mentioned,
mm,
doctor, our God doesn't believe stages. He's just put you here to do a job, and he'll do the rest.
mhm,
So with those kind of positive notes and encouragement, because I live by faith, not by sight, but by faith. So I claim to our Creator all the time, no matter what. So I gave the children, most of all, it was our boys, because now at this point, they had to be encouraged a lot. Like, you say, oh, my dad was such a good person. He did his duty. He did this, that, and the other. And yet, why it is him, right?
mhm,
But
Mm.
we don't ask God, why me? We just accept. And the minute we accept things with His help, it makes it a lot more easier to deal with. And that is where we got our strength, actually. I will not lie and say it wasn't a difficult journey. It definitely was, but it made it so much easier for us to deal with it, just knowing at the end of the tunnel there is a ray of light. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that was it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. It strikes me also too, like even thinking about funerals that I've attended, for example, and it's totally like I remember specifically at my grandmother's funeral, after her funeral, and thinking like, Lord, I cannot imagine what this would be like without you. Like without like believing that there is, life after death and that we come from you and we're going to you. And like I cannot imagine yeah, like the pain of that experience. So it sounds like there's like that's kind of also like what you're describing in a sense, you know?
That's right. That's right. And believe me, if it wasn't for the faith and the strength in our God, a living God, we always say our God is a living God.
Mm-hmm.
So with that strength, it really helped our family. And this has not only encouraged us, I have to be honest to say, it has encouraged a lot of our friends.
Mm.
They feel so inspired the way Leon has fought this. And till date, still fighting it, because we know we have somebody stronger than us,
Mm-hmm.
who's leading the way.
Yeah, and I just sorry, I just wanted to share, like, we saw you guys after a long time, a few months, well, a little while ago. And I remember thinking when I saw you, like, you look the same, like very like you don't look that different from what I remember. And I was like, I don't get it. Because you are, you're sick, but you don't seem sick in that way. And I think, and even in the way that you
Except for the
are,
muscles, loss of muscles.
Mm.
yeah, I mean, Uncle Leon, I'm be real with you. I didn't really care about going to the gym when I was 8 and 9 and 10, so I didn't notice any
We
muscles.
didn't notice
I'm
any.
sure they were. I think they were probably all there, but I did not. I wasn't paying attention. So, but honestly, you even just the joy, like there is joy in both of you. Like there, I mean, clearly you're in the battle, you're in the fight right now, but there's joy and there's hope, like Aaron was saying and like Nicole was saying, and it's very visceral. And I even know from my own life that it can be very difficult to hold on to that joy. And I like that image that you had, Uncle Jan, of like a rope, like a frayed rope. Sometimes it really does feel like you have maybe a thread. You
Never.
Yeah,
have one
totally.
thread, and but
Yeah.
you got it. But that's your only, like the Lord is giving you that choice to hold on to that thread.
Mhm.
What you are both standing on is the reality that God is just greater. Like
Absolutely.
cancer, the reality of
Mhm.
cancer, it is real or whatever, that is true. But God is more real in a way, and
Yeah.
he really can do. I mean, that's what scripture tells us. He can do anything in
That's right.
any of
Mhm.
our lives. But we have to
Have
but we
faith.
have to have boldness in that faith.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And I think I've
Yeah.
got boldness so far.
It
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you do. It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one thing that really is standing out to me from what you're sharing um is sort of these stages, and not I'm not talking about stages of this illness, but stages of how you have dealt with this kind of suffering. And you talked about, okay, the first there's this initial like shock and disbelief and kind of like you talked about like kind of shattering too, right, Lorraine?
Yes.
Uh and then you mentioned acceptance. Like there was this moment where you said, okay, like that there's something that you accepted, that this is the reality, and that you went to God, you went to pray in that. And then it sounds like you knew what you needed to do next. Like you knew that, okay, it's time to fight. And I think that that's really, really key, because, there's a lot of different types of suffering. There's a lot of different types of illness. And we had my parents on, and my mom went through a major illness several years ago, and she's now recovered. But I can remember that, there was different times in her journey where she it was like, that scripture from Ecclesiastes is a time to, I don't remember it exactly, but there's a time to heal and there's a time to cry and there's a time
Mhm.
to stand up and there's this, and so that in suffering that, what if we can accept what's happening, and then if we go to the Lord, that the Lord will guide us in what it's time to do. Is it time to wait? Is it time to be
Mm.
patient, or is it time to fight? And it sounds like you know that it's time to fight, and you're doing that, and that sounds like it's a fruit of this acceptance and faith and prayer. And that's really beautiful too. It's really
Mhm.
inspiring.
May I say something else?
Mhm.
Um, I don't think my fight would have been so good and so strong and so effective without having Lorraine,
Mm.
or a person like Lorraine. And this is what I like to tell, excuse me, people, that, you know, we all call our partners maybe a wife or a love or a sweetheart or my life partner. But on going through what I went through, I told people openly, I mean, not all the people, whenever there was a chance, I said, and I told this to Lorraine's ears also, because she needs to feel uh, good. And I said, this fight would not have happened the way it is going. I said, with me winning most of the rounds, I said, without having a real living angel. I said, I thought she was my wife and I was wrong. I thought she was my partner and I was wrong. I thought she was my, everyone says that, my girlfriend still, and we keep kidding about it. But until people go through what I went through, right from 6 in the morning, making my fruit juices every single day, doing this, getting the medication, getting out of the auto, inside the auto, in the monsoons, flooding, walking through flooded waters for our prayer meetings, and pushing me on for prayer. Can you sit up and pray? Why don't you sit up and pray? So I said, we all talk of angels, and if you go on YouTube, they say everyone has an angel right around us right now. I'm not disputing the fact, but to have a living angel, I said, this is what has helped me to really get my fight going. Many people will say, well, she's your wife, she has to do it. No, the way she did it and the way she's doing it is something which, even with all my literary skills, which I love to write, I cannot describe it.
Mhm. It's so beautiful to, even when you speak about it like that, it makes me think about marriage. The point of marriage is to get each other to heaven. That's it. Like,
That's
this is the thing, and you can see, like for Lorraine, that it's like the motivating you to pray, Leon, and the taking care of you and the encouraging you and the, like taking care of you, is like, that's sanctifying for Lorraine, because
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's how you pour love out for you. And then also for you, Leon, it's like you're receiving of her love, and you're like fighting and showing her that you are, like fighting for your life, because you love her, you feel called
Yeah.
to that, you want to keep being with her in this beautiful marriage. Like, it's like very clear.
And with a person like me in normal life, well, I'm a bit picky, I'm a bit selective, I'm a bit choosy.
Let's say normal life with Uncle Leon is very
Yeah.
sanctifying. Not kidding.
But
Put it
with
like that.
this, but and yet I could have been a thorn in a heel, someone's heel, in Lorraine's heel. But with this, what happened around me, at times I was not demanding, but literally, I can't explain myself, more taxing to her,
Mm.
with my maybe sarcastic looks during severe bouts of pain.
Mm.
For example, she would ask me, are you having pain? The pain was so severe. I said, what else do I have? It's like that. So, I mean, much to say, why do you ask me that question? So even that, I think she put up, and I'm trying to curb it down, curb it down a lot. Even just now, to connect, she said, let's have the computer in this direction. I said, see, if we put the computer in this direction, you are the only one who has to bend and take out the wire and put it. I said, you're doing so much. I said, even this you've got to do. So it's not that I wanted the computer to be in my way, which she thought, but I said, I mean, you're the victim right now. You're the person who's doing every single thing. because I'm not able to bend so freely as I used to bend before. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Kind
said,
of.
it's nice to give credit to a person when they could hear it when they are alive, rather than when a person goes, everyone gives one of the most beautiful eulogies. I mean, that box down there does not hear anything. It's so silly, but such is a custom, you know. I prefer giving each one uh, a word of my praise and appreciation, anyone on the street, even when they could hear it today,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You called Auntie Lorraine victim, which is, I mean, I know you didn't mean it, and I don't
Yeah.
want you to mean it in a serious way, but even just, I was thinking, yeah, just in the same way that you have joy and hope and strength, Uncle Leon, like Auntie Lorraine, you don't seem to me someone who is incredibly burdened, and I know that in a sense, like you're not incredibly burdened, but the reality, the fact of both of your everyday lives involves a lot of work, a lot of mental and spiritual like presence, like constantly being present to what's actually happening, and it can be so exhausting, and a lot of people in a situation like this would very understandably be exhausted and just drained, and Auntie Lorraine, you never seem drained to me, and you're one of the most genuine people that I know, so I know it's not like a front, like it's not like, oh, I see you and I'm happy, but you just are very authentic. So yeah, how have you in this, like, I know prayer and I know the Lord, but in practical terms, like every day, how do you get that strength from God, to have this kind of energy that you both have?
Basically, I get the strength from God just by prayer. I start my day with prayer, and I get really upset if I cannot start the day with prayer. For example, if there is a phone call or something that interrupts that, and God be my judge, I'm literally so upset and disturbed, because I feel the minute I start my day with prayer, it helps me a lot, to
Mm-hmm.
take on whatever challenges come during that day. And believe me, that strength which you get after prayer, it's incredible. It's really incredible, because it just tides you through. Like whatever comes, and you say, you know what, this is God's plan. Ultimately it's God's plan, because everything what happens to us does not happen accidentally. So when we say that, and you keep encouraging and staying positive in it, it becomes so much simple to handle. And
Mm-hmm.
believe me, this is what I keep saying: God is our strength, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that because it is so simple. It's that simple, really. Like it's
It's actually
literally,
very simple, yes.
yeah, yeah, just leaning on the Lord, like actually leaning on him every single day and taking it that day. Like, the in the Our Father it says, give us this day our daily bread. Like that receiving, being present to God to receive from him what we need for that day,
Yeah,
and
one
the
day at a
importance of
time.
that
Yeah.
one day at a time. Yeah. Oh man. Thank you guys so much. Like there's so much that we could talk about when you're going through a journey, especially when you're in the middle of it, which you are right now. So I would just ask, anyone who's listening, if you can, to say a prayer for Uncle Leon for his healing, for all those who are suffering with the same illness or any other illness, just to pray for healing. We're going to go into God Wings for a second, but just had this thought recently, a conversation with somebody. We spoke about healing and how the Lord like we are called to pray for it. We're called to have hope in such a bold way as to ask for healing. And oftentimes we don't. And when we ask for it, we don't get it, we stop asking. But like there's kind of a reliance, like a childlike reliance on God to continue that prayer of like hopeful petition for healing to God who loves us. So yeah, so just invite everybody to pray for Leon's healing, and also anyone else that who might need it. So
Thank
yeah.
you, ladies, for this where I would for this talk where I was able to share my faith, share my belief, and share one thing with everyone who could be in the same situation or worse, that we can defeat any illness with God fighting our way right in front of us.
Hmm.
The battle is the Lord. That's what I would like to end by saying. Our battle is the Lord. And when we tell him that our battle is the Lord, things become easier for us.
Amen. I love that. The
Amen.
battle is the Lord's. Um, Speaking of which, we are gonna do God winks. So in some ways, a lot of this is already like the Lord is clearly working in your lives, but we want to share maybe specific one, like an incident. So I'm gonna start with Erin. Erin, what is your God wink for this episode?
Yes. So my God wink for this week is pretty simple. So I've been trying for a while, as anybody who sees us on Instagram or anywhere, to write this master's thesis that I'm doing, which has been difficult with fibromyalgia and just trying to concentrate and things like that. But so my God wink is that I got the first chapter done, and I think it's probably going to be the most difficult. Yay!
Woo!
Because it's like summarizing the whole of theology of the body, which is not, I mean, that's a dense book, you know, so the men and women who created them. So that's like, it was kind of that feeling after the first chapter was like done, and I was like, this is done, like I can do it, and this like renewal of a hope in me of like the possibility that this will actually be done, and just sensing the Lord in that of like, yes, it's good, we're doing it, like,
Praise the Lord.
good.
That's
Praise
awesome.
him.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations, dude. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Exciting.
All grace.
Yeah. Nicole, how
Yeah.
about you? What's your God week this week?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Mine's also school related. So I'm working on my PhD, and of course, it's a little bit tricky to do research in COVID times because I'm hoping to actually work with people like human participants and so on. And so I was just kind of having a little thinking session with myself this week in my office, and just looking at, okay, what are some options? And I glanced at this article that I had based some of my experiment designs on, and I was looking at the authors again and remembered, oh, like I know the lead author for this study. I've been working with her, and haven't actually asked her, about, just for advice or anything. So I sent her a quick email, and she was happy to meet up, and we had like an hour-long chat, and that was just very, very helpful in helping me know kind of, some directions to take and how to get the research going. And so it just felt like a little nudge from heaven of kind of where to go with this, which I'm really grateful for. So we'll see where that
Nice.
leads. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, lots of school stuff this week.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you guys, Uncle Leon, Auntie Lorraine? What's your God wink?
Well, my God wink is the strength from the Lord, and to see Uncle Leon heal every single day. Every single day I see an improvement. And sometimes there are days when I just say, like, you know what, it's the same thing again. But then, like you say, you get a nudge, not to worry. I'm there with you. I'm walking this journey with you. So my God wink is to stay strong, stay in faith, stay positive, and you will be a victor. You will be victorious in everything. You just have to have, like you say, God with you. And this is my message to God wink, right?
Totally. I think your whole lives are a God wink right now.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
Pretty much every day. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I believe, and I think this is my God wink. It was the month of July, and we were in our friend's apartment in Prabhadevi. All my words maybe it's all like story form, because I believe a story is best to understand, right? So we were engulfed with the COVID situation and waiting for Emirates flights to open to go back to Dubai, not realizing why we were waiting for it. But one day I was lying in bed, and I started reading a lot of more number of Psalms. And I read Psalm 126, where basically it tells you that God is taking the exiles back to the promised land or the Holy Land or whatever it is. And I had a lot of faith in that. And I thought the promised land or the Holy Land is going back to Dubai, because we were out of Dubai for about a year and a half. So one day I could hear, while I'm lying in bed with a little bit of pain, thinking what's the future going to be, I can hear Lorraine thanking someone, a friend, for helping him to get our tickets to go to Dubai. And then, ladies, I firmly believe that is the time that God spoke to me without an audio voice. I said, she's booking the book the tickets to go back. My visa was going to expire, two-year visa, on the 22nd of July. And they were waiting to cancel it. And I had to go back. The first thing I go back, they're going to cancel it. And then something really asked me, you're going back to Dubai. What are you going to do there? Literally that. No one's going to give me a job because of the illness. No one. I've got my son, Craig and Carson. Even if they had all the money in the world, I mean to say, if they had a company of their own, it's difficult for them to get me on their visa because the insurance will be sky high. So what am I going to do down there? And the voice asked me, what are you going to do in Dubai? Literally, ladies, literally, what are you going to do there once your visa is canceled? Lorraine doesn't have an insurance. She's not on a visa. We are going like visa empty. Once my visa gets canceled, automatically her visa gets canceled. And then the voice prompted me. I called Conrad, Lorraine's brother, without telling her. I said, Conrad, we are coming to Canada. He said, what? And ladies, I promise you, we never had a thought of coming to Canada this time during the year. Never had a thought. All our money that we had got dwindled down with the expenses for my illness. My company, just for the records, had an insurance coverage of 250,000 dirhams. You could divide that by 3. That was Canadian dollars. And we had about 37 to 47, let us say 37 lakhs. So totally it was 100 lakhs, which was 1 crore that went for the illness.
Can you translate,
And
Uncle Leon, because that's Indian
it was about
numbers.
huge amount of money. It was about 80,000, 90,000, $80,000 maybe, which went towards the illness. And then I said, Conrad, I've not even told my sons that we have decided to come to Canada. I've not even told Lorraine, can you give me your basement? He said, of course. He says, but the truth is, come and see it. Until date, it's the same. His daughter became a dentist. And all her stuff, cupboards, wardrobes, ironing board, books, periodicals, and this and that was all in the basement. He said, I can't go through my basement myself. Then I call up my second friend, Loyola. I said, Lorraine does not know I'm talking to you. Can I live in your basement? He said, of course, let's talk about it. Fast forward, we go to Dubai, get my visa canceled on the 22nd, and the 26th of August, we are here. Did I want to come to Canada? No, honestly, in God's holy name. It was his move. Then I realized maybe this was he was taking me out of exile, out of Bombay and Dubai, and bringing me here. That's all. I have to leave it at that. I do not know whether that's a real God wink for you girls.
That's
a pretty good
real,
God wink.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
God sometimes leads us in surprising ways, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, I guess I'll finish with my God wink, which I'm going to say is less intense than everybody's this week. So my God wink is that on the weekend, not this past week, a couple weekends ago, a friend of mine had a birthday, and we celebrated it on Zoom because right now we're in lockdown. You can't really go anywhere. And we wanted to have Korean. We love Korean barbecue. That's like a thing that we do. We eat Korean barbecue often together. And obviously that's not possible right now. And so we were like, let's just buy some like really good cuts of pork and like fry it up in frying pans in our house. And I realized that my mom that day I've lived in this house away from my parents like for a couple of years, and the entire time it's been here, I've totally been unaware of it. I have a cast iron skillet, you guys, and I basically was like, that's like barbecuing inside. So I cut up like my pork, like I had this beautiful cut of pork. There's like so much marbling and fat.
You
I'm
feel
sorry
hungry.
for any vegetarians out there. I'm being very descriptive of the meat that I ate, but it was so good. And I like basically barbecued it. I kind of opened the doors and stuff a bit to let out the smoke, but like barbecued it in my house. And I had like legit Korean barbecue, and I had
Ooh,
kimchi, and it
ooh.
was delicious. And I was having a rough week. So I just feel like that was the Lord, blessing me because he knows how much I love,
I love
Korean.
Korean barbecue.
I
That's
really
awesome.
do.
Much I
So yeah.
walk through, yeah.
I just encourage anyone who's having a rough time, if you have a cast iron skillet, make some Korean barbecue and it'll be better. You'll feel better.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Uncle Leon, thank you so much for sharing. Just
Very
so
welcome,
sweet,
Louise.
honestly. And
Very
Auntie Lorraine as well. We're going to be praying for you. And yeah, and for anyone else who's listening, who's going through a difficult time right now with illness in your life, you are very much in our prayers.
Yeah,
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
Thank
again.
you
for joining us for this episode of In the Thicket. If you like what you hear, give us a rating and hit that subscribe button. We have new episodes every Monday with more stories and honest conversations about life when the going gets rough and the hope and humor amidst it all. We'd love for you to join our community on Instagram and Facebook at In the Thicket Podcast. While you're there, let us know how we can pray for you. God bless and see you next week.